We are admitting Kenea Crespo. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you. This is like so anticipating. Oh, man. My anxiety is.
I can't do anything.
Oh man, my heart is pounding. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, I can't see you.
Because I can't hear anything.
You can hear me now or no?
Wait.
My audio is up, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. I can't. Wait.
Oh man, wait. Unmute, I'm unmuted. Oh man, wait. Don't mute, wait. I'm seeing the audio on my end. Oh man.
Hold on. I don't know what's going on with my volume.
This is so heartbreaking.
All right. I can hear you now.
You hear me
Can
now?
you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. We had some technical difficulties at first. I'm like, what's going on?
Did I get it right? Kenea Crespo?
Kenea.
Kenya or Kenya?
Kenea.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? I swore it was Kenya, right? But then I looked at it and I said, you know what? I want to be the first person to get it right. I feel like everybody was saying Kenya before, and it's probably Kenya. I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean any disrespect.
No problem. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
This is so exciting.
I know it is.
So, how was your birthday? First and foremost.
It was actually really good. I had like so much family over and a lot of friends, well, a few colleagues, and that's basically it. Like, but it was just like a full house, so it was crazy.
You're going about traveling the world and things like that, and just not scared of what's happening with
You know, it's like at this point, may the best immune system win. I take I take care of my body. I juice every morning. I eat my fruits and vegetables, take my vitamins. So it's like I'm doing my part. Try.
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. May the best immune system win. I took the test. Well, you know, I took the test because we were talking on in the DMs about it, and I hated it. And then we mandate that we take it every month, so I had to take it again last week Friday. No, I'm lying. Last week Wednesday just passed, and it was like worse. Like they were so like ungentle with it, stuck it in my nose, wiggled it around and things like that. I was like, oh my gosh, you know. I caught an attitude with the lady, to be honest with you. It wasn't her fault. She's doing her job.
It's really bad because as soon as you think that they're finished, they start twisting it.
Yeah,
And you like,
it's like this and like scraping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the First time it was fun. I guess a little fun. They was laughing with me, put me at ease. This lady was just about her business. Like, next, next, next. Oh my gosh, you know. Came out negative both times. I feel great about it, you know, but next month I have to do it again. So this
Wait,
way.
so why do you have to do it every month?
Say that again?
Why do you have to do it every month?
Just to, because we're in an office. So
Right.
being that we're around people all the time and we're going out on showings now, New York opened back up. So now we're able to do in-person showings. And for some reason, in Brooklyn, where I'm mostly located, nobody wants to really wear a mask. And people love coughing with their mouth open, never covering. So once you step out, once you step outside, it's like you bring your whole family outside with you, even if you're by yourself. So just to make sure that nobody's contracting anything and bringing it back to the office, we just get tested every month. Sucks, but it is what it is at this point in time. Anyway, so question, Kenea, how did you get started in real estate?
Okay, well, my parents initially got me into real estate. I was born into real estate.
Yeah.
Literally, like I've been growing up going to we call it closings, but in investing, they usually call it settlements in Jersey.
Okay.
So I've been going to settlements with my mom and just enjoying that whole environment. And at the time, I was like 5, 6 years old. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that we would go to settlements and have like brownies and cookies at every settlement. Like I just knew that part of it. But as I got older, my mom, she still fix and flips to this day. So that really inspired me to just get into business and just really take off with it. Because when I initially went to college, I went to college to be an orthopedic surgeon. But then 2 years later, I changed my major to business. And I said, you know what? Real estate is what I really want to do. Like I always thought it would be something that I would do part-time. Like, okay, here and there, I'll flip a few houses or whatever. But I really realized that it's a passion of mine. And I'm super committed into just helping people. So I just went full throttle, and here I am today, 2 years later.
So what was your process into getting into real estate? Like you just, you went to the school, you took the test, and then you just automatically went to a group? Or like what were your steps?
Okay, so after I took the test, after I passed the test, I went directly to Keller Williams in Pembroke Pines because I'm located in South Florida. So I immediately went to Keller Williams in Pembroke Pines, and that was the best thing I've ever did because Keller Williams literally taught me almost everything that I know to this day. So I left Keller almost a year after, once I really realized that I learned really fast and I closed on so many properties, and everyone's telling me, hey, people don't do this until their 3rd year of real estate. So this company scouted me out called Excellence Realty, and that's the company that I'm with now.
Yeah.
And it's more independent. It's not as hands-on as Keller, but I appreciate it because I always do my own research. I always take classes at the board and everything like that. So as of right now, Excellence and Keller, they help me be the person that I am today.
Now with Excellence, is it a brick and mortar real estate company? Is it cloud-based?
I'm sorry, say it again.
That is Excellence Realty. Is it a brick and mortar like it's there, or is it like cloud-based like EXP?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up so bad.
I'm so sorry. I was saying Excellence Realty, is it a brick and mortar real estate company? Like, does it have an office, or is it more cloud-based like EXP?
Okay, so it's a little bit of both, if that makes any sense. We have our corporate office in Kendall, which is like an hour and some change away from my house. So I have my own office, and then like a lot of our A lot of the people in the company, they really stay like up north, like towards Tampa and Lakeland.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a freelance company, but there are offices that you can physically go to every day.
Got it.
Unlike Keller, where it was like 10 minutes from my house, so I would go there every day and I didn't have my own personal office.
So with that being said, right, let's talk elements. What what do you have to put in place? Like what has to be in place for you to be at your optimum? Like, do you have to spray sage around? Do you have to be in the office? Like what has to be in place to get you in your element to perform at your maximum level?
Let's start off with a good night's of sleep. I have to have my 8 hours of
Hours.
sleep. When I wake up, before I get out of bed, I pray. When I get in the shower, I pray.
Mm.
I don't like to listen to music before 12. Before 12, 1 o'clock, I don't want to listen to music. Like if I'm driving, say if I am going to the office or going to an early morning showing, I like to listen to like audibles, something motivational. Whoever the top producers are in South Florida, and if they have like an interview or something like that, I like to listen and see what they're doing as well. So basically in the mornings, I would say information, information, information. If I'm listening to something, it has to be dedicated to real estate or just motivating me into being a better person. I don't like to listen, like I said, music, no, not till after lunchtime. And breakfast is very important.
Mhm.
After I get dressed, eat my breakfast. Sometimes I'll have coffee and they'll get me running. But just mainly like meditation for me in the mornings. Meditation, quietness, just like mainly like me and God.
You said audibles, and I'm real big on audibles as well. For some, I just not a big reader. I just sitting down reading a book, not for me. But I can listen to audibles all the time. This year, I had a goal of listening to 50 audible books, by December 31st. I'm like 53 in right now, so I go, my three favorites were I listened to the Altman Close, by Josh Altman, $1 Million Listing in LA. Listened to Sell It Like Turn um NLP books. Like I need to listen to maybe 4 or 5 real estate books, but once you get into that realm, it gets a rabbit hole, and now you're listening to NLP books, and you're listening to taxes, and you're listening to all these other things. So what are your favorite audiobooks to listen to?
My top one is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm.
That's my favorite Audible book. I think I've listened to that almost 5 times. Because I like to listen to books at least 3 times out the year. But that's my top one because I feel like everyone could mainly relate to that. Have you read that book?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my favorite one. It really just shows like different perspectives of people. And I just feel like everyone could relate to that book.
Hmm.
And it personally helped me with my journey as well.
So what's one thing? It's funny because after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad or listened to it, the one thing is another book that I listened to like right after. So like, what's the one thing that you can say that you got from Rich Dad Poor Dad? Like the one
Um,
nugget.
the one nugget
Mhm.
is to don't listen to other people mainly. Like don't like for example, let me give you an example. Okay, his real dad was telling him how to go by the books,
Yeah.
go to college, do this, do that. But at the same time, he was upgrading his life, but he was literally downgrading his life at the same time. He would take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back because he wasn't financially educated. But his rich dad, his best friend's dad, would show him how to be financially educated and different steps you have to take towards that goal.
Mhm.
So I guess yeah, listen to yourself and focus on being financially educated, because that's not something that we learn in high school.
We learn in school. Mm-hmm.
That's not something that we learn in general. So financially, how to be financially educated is actually the main thing I got from
Oh,
that.
it's crazy. It's funny that you brought that up. That was right before COVID. I was talking to teachers, and because I have two daughters, they're 9 and 7 now. But I was talking to
Yeah.
the teachers in different schools and teachers assistants because I feel that one, children should learn the power of the game of money, because money is really a game. Like, you really have to know how to deal with money, how to deal with credit, just like you learn any other kind of language, right? So I was saying to the teachers and the principals in my area, we need to do it when they're young. You know, by the time you're 14, 15 years old, you're already stuck in your ways and, mismanaging money. But, let's say like you start the game Monopoly. We really didn't know what Monopoly was teaching us back in the days.
Yep.
We just was playing it. But if we were kind of taught that and also in different aspects, we'll be way better off now than we are now. Like if we just knew how credit worked. Imagine if we were aware at the age of 10, if I give you $5 for a month, you're going to give me back $5.50. And it's going to keep compounding, like compound interest and things like that. Like, imagine the power if we learned that then, and now we're 20, 25, 30, and now we already have that image. I remember one time, Kenea, I was going to the store directly across the street from my office, and the owner was there, but he had his son literally writing a check. All he had to do was sign. When it was getting a delivery and things like that. The son is like 8. Like, writing a check, and I'm like, this is what we're missing.
Absolutely.
And it just bugged me out. So right before COVID hit, I started talking in these things like that, and then it's like everything shut down. So it kind of pushed it back. Still on my goal list, but still kind of pushed me back. So it's funny that you brought that up. Now, what were you doing before real estate?
Before real estate, I worked on the yachts.
On a yacht?
And yes. And that's basically it. I mean, in high school, I worked at Abercrombie and Hollister. And then when I came to South Florida, I transferred to the Abercrombie and the Aventura Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went to school for a little bit. And then I fell in love with the water, fell in love with being on yachts. And I was a crew member. And then after that, during that, actually, that's when I took my real estate license and became a realtor.
When I was younger, it sounds cliche when you talk to a lot of people, but when I was younger, it was really, I've always talked about being in real estate since a kid, but I didn't know the different subcategories. Like I didn't know agents or flippers, investors. I just thought house, real estate, I want to be in that field, right? So I used to work in Bloomingdale's.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends, she walked up to me and she was always studying. She had her glasses on. Her name was Rose, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Christian, I'm so tired." And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Going to school." I'm like, "Going to school for what?" She was like, "Real estate." I was like, "Wow, I always wanted to do real estate." She said, "You should do it." And like the next week, I signed up for the class. And it's funny, I took the school test and I passed the school test, and I was the only one in the class to pass the school test. So I have the paper right in my hand, and everybody's like, "Oh man, that test was BS, and nobody passed it." And to let you know, like right then and there, and I'm the only one with the certificate. So then when I'm hearing it, I like put it behind my back. It kind of
Ooh, that's so funny.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So then I went for the state test. I failed the state test the first time. I was upset. Then I passed it the second time. Did you pass your state test the first time?
No, I did not. I did not. And let me tell you something, right? When I studied for this test, it was like for a month. I studied harder than the SAT. Any test, I studied harder. Like
Yeah.
this test, like was my full-time job. Like I would literally study from 9 to 5, and the only break I would take is a snack break and a lunch break.
Yeah.
And like every few hours, I would take a 15-minute break to just walk around.
Hmm.
Month straight, that's all I was doing studying. So the very first time I took the test and I failed, I felt like the lowest person in the world. Like I
Hmm.
just felt so low, and I just remember crying like, what is my purpose? Like I thought this was it for me. Like what's going on? Like I was just crying to my husband like I'm nothing. Like just talking like nonsense. I
Yeah,
was talking some.
I was distraught. I'm like, I can't believe
I'm like, what's going on? I'm so dumb. Like, no, that test
I
is
called my
very
mom. I
challenging.
started complaining to my mom. Ma, I don't even know why I wanted to get in a real estate. I can't do this. Oh
Yo,
man.
that was the worst feeling ever. But like once I passed,
Mhm.
oh, I was so ready. I was so hyped. I was just like, let's get this money. Let's help these people. Like, I was so motivated. That was the best feeling of my life, I'm telling you.
After you pass the test,
Yes, yes.
it
I
was a
felt so accomplished after that.
was a relief. I was like, I finally did it. I had so much anxiety when I kept going on NewYorkState.gov to see if I got it and see if I passed. And then it said passed, and I was like, whew, now I could finally move on and do what I wanted to do. And
Yep.
you see HGTV, you see $1 Million Listing, you see Love It or Listed and things like that, and you think it's that simple, right?
Mm-mm.
You think it's, we're gonna come in low and they're gonna do this and we're gonna list it this and it's that easy of a transaction. And then you get smacked in the face with the reality that it's nothing like
It's nothing. Like, if you are not a committed hustler, real estate is not for you.
you really can't. Real estate isn't a part-time thing either. Like,
It's
like
not. It's not.
it's too demanding of a job. If a seller calls you 1 in the morning, you gotta kind of take it if it's urgent. Like, if they want to see you this day, you gotta kind of do it. A lot of agents I talk to, especially newer agents, when they come to my company, they always ask them these two questions. Why did you get into real estate? And yeah, basically, why did you get into real estate? And then it leads into other things. And they always tell me these two things. As a matter of fact, that's what it was. They always tell me these two things. I want to be my own boss and the money.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them, if that's your reason of getting into real estate, you're going to flush out the business.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to flush out the business because it isn't likely that the money's going to come like that.
A lot of people don't even make money the first few years. That's first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. The
It's
failure,
crazy.
the failure rate, I don't know what it is in Florida, but the failure rate in New York is 88%. That's almost 9 out of every, this is before COVID. So that's almost 9 out of every 10 realtors are going to flush out the business in the first 2 years. That's crazy. So worried about the money, probably to say, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make enough, to maintain yourself. And then the second thing is you want to be your own boss. In a sense, you don't have one boss. Like I always say this, like you're coming from a 9 to 5, and let's say you got paid weekly, right? So you got paid weekly. So you're going to get your check every Friday or every other Friday, whatever it is. And
Mm-hmm.
you had one boss, maybe two or three, depending on assistant managers or whatever, but you mainly had one boss and you knew you were getting paid this amount every week if you did this amount of hours. In real estate, depending on how many clients you have, determines how many bosses you have.
That's the truth.
So if you got 7, 8 clients, you got 7, 8 bosses.
7 bosses.
And probably
Yep.
more because of the sub bosses, because we know the husband likes it, the wife gotta like it, the kids gotta like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then they want to show the mom.
We'll almost be closed. Hold on, my mom want to see it now.
My mom want to see it. It's like, oh my gosh. And mom will say, you know, I just don't like it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought a house in the 80s.
Oh man, the things that we go through.
When I bought a house in the 80s, it was bigger than this, and I paid $200,000 for it. This is too much. I want 900. It's like, you bought it in a way different market, mom. Like, you know, things change. Inflation, you know what happens. So the things that we go through as real estate agents is crazy. You know,
It is.
how do you, with that being said, how do you handle commission objections?
I'm sorry?
You handle commission objections on what it is that we go through as agents.
Okay, your exact question, meaning if I wanted like 3% and they wanted to offer me 2%?
Yeah.
Okay, I would let them know exactly what me and my company can offer. Exactly, like, okay, would you want, okay, are you there? Okay, like for example, when you go to Louis Vuitton, it's no sale because of the quality, because of the lifetime warranty. It's kind of the same when you come to me and my company. You don't want a discount because you don't want me to work any less than what I should be working. You want me to work my full potential. You want me to sell your house in a great amount of time. So allow me to do that. Let's not start off by diminishing my commission because I don't want to not give you my all and give you the full potential that you will need in order for me to sell your house properly.
You know, what's the rate of commission in Florida? It seems like it's different. Out here, we typically do 6%, right? We have 2 types of agents. Which is the Real Estate Board of New York, and you have MLS. Now, with REBNY, it's mandatory that we co-broke with other agents, not if they're MLS or REBNY agents. Now, if they're MLS agents, they don't have to co-broke. So, if I negotiate 6% and another agent comes, I have to get you know, if I negotiate 6% with MLS agent, negotiate 6%, you know, they can keep the full 6, and then the buyer has to pay the other agent. You know, so is that how it works in Florida or where you are?
So Florida, it's usually a standard 6% where the listing agent will have 3% and the buyer's agent will have 3%. Now, it's a law in Florida that technically, if I wanted to, I could put on the MLS owner only offering 1% to buyer's agent, and all this time I can keep the 5%. So, I mean, it's not motivating for the other realtor because when they see that, they're like, okay, what, you know?
I show another property.
Right. But at the same time, I just recently found out that that was legal. As a listing agent, I can keep the full 6% and pay a commission of $500 if I wanted to. Wow. But typically, it's three and three.
Wow. That's insane. That's insane. One of my goals, honestly, was to be able to be licensed in Florida, and the other one is Jersey. The New York license, we're able to sell in 9 states without getting licensed there. Is that the same in Florida?
Yeah, so we have mutual recognition states as well. We do. Like, for example, Georgia is one of our mutual recognition states where we probably have to take like a 52 or 100 question quiz or something like that, and we automatically get licensed. And under LA, I would have to start from the real estate school. So
Same thing in Jersey. Like there's no reciprocity, which is crazy because Jersey is like the sixth borough of New York. It's across the water. You know, you could get to some places in Jersey than you could in New York, but we'd have to get licensed in Jersey if we wanted to do anything. We got to go to the school, like you said in LA, pass the school test and pass the state test in Jersey, which is 100 questions. Here, I think our questions, I think it was 50 questions, multiple choice. In Jersey, it's 100. Am I mistaken? I don't know.
yeah, Jersey is like 100, anywhere between 100 and 105. I'm from Jersey.
That's crazy. Oh, you're from, why did you move to Florida?
I went to school down here, to college, and I just stayed. Yeah, like literally my entire family lives in Jersey.
Wow. That's why you don't have a down south accent.
No. I can't get this Jersey off of me. Like, I just can't.
Get the Jersey with me.
It's like embedded in me.
All right, so I say real estate is like, I guess, a restaurant. The agents are chefs, right? And
Okay.
that meaning, you know, you got different kinds of chefs that specialize in different kinds of things. A chef specializes in frying. You know, this one specializes in baking. This one specializes in steaming, boiling, whatever. You know, so what kind of agent are you? Do you specialize in investors, listings, buyers, renters? Like what is your like specialty? I know you do everything well, but what is your like specialty?
Okay. To be honest, and it sucks to say this because they say that be a jack of all trades. Don't necessarily just be a master at one. I don't know if you agree with that. It's not everybody does. But I would have said, if you asked me this question a year ago, I would have said my specialty is listing agent. Because last year, around this time, I had 25 listings.
25 listing that you got in May.
Yes. So it's like, I would have been like, I'm a listing agent. Like I can da-da-da-da. But at this stage in the game, 2 years later, I will honestly say that I haven't specialized in anything yet because I'm just as equally a listing agent as I am as a buyer's agent. And a lot of people out here do not like to work with rentals. Me, I'm like a whiz at rentals because majority of my rentals, I convert them into buyers. So I do literally everything. And even like the area that I live in, I do farm my area, don't get me wrong, but I still work in all 3 counties as well. I still work in Miami. I still work in Fort Lauderdale. I still work in Boca Raton. You know, so I haven't really specialized in one thing because it's just so much going on. It's so much in real estate that goes on. It's to me, it's harder for me to just commit to one thing. I feel like I'm kind of lacking if I just commit to one thing out here because there's so much opportunity in everything, even subleasing, and people come down here from New York and Jersey all the time for seasonal properties. So I got I dipped and dabbed into seasonal as well. So I felt my first year, everyone kept saying, no, just commit to one thing. And I felt that was hard for me to do because I always want to learn new things. And if a client comes to me that wants something, I want to know how to do it rather than just referring them to someone else that knows how to do it.
That's dope. I don't know. I can't say I've mastered that trade as of yet, being honest. I guess being that I'm more of a numbers guy, I love dealing with the listing side of it. Because in my opinion, listings give you more leverage. It gives you more, you manage your time more. You're able to do a lot of things a lot easier when you're dealing with listings. You know, I haven't gotten to the point of having 25 at a time, but I believe the most I've had was 12 or 13 listings at one time. And that was a little stressful, but I can, working with 12 to 13 buyers at a time, oh my gosh, you know, it gets time consuming, it gets frustrating and things like that. So when you have listings, buyers come to you automatically. Because
Right, exactly.
you
You're
have
right.
that leverage.
It's you're right. You're right. Definitely.
That's
It's
why
definitely easier having listings. Even with open houses and everything, everyone comes directly to you. Your phone's constantly ringing because you have listings. So regardless, you could sit home and post ads or do whatever you do to put yourself out there, and your phone's going to constantly ring regardless.
it's a great advertising tool as well, because the more signs you have out there, the more people know of you. We have something called Street Easy out here, which is almost like a powerful MLS, because it syndicates to like Zillow and Trulia and others, you know, platforms, sub platforms from it. Um, so the more, if you just type in Christian, see, I had this many listings and boom, 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 boom. It gives you the stats. It gives you everything. You know, so it's a big advertising tool once you have the listings. Once you have the buyers, you know, it's you spend a lot of time, but the listings you spend a lot of money.
Yep.
Listings, you know,
Yep.
if you're worried about branding, branding is really important to me. So I want the pictures to be a certain way. I want the sign to be a certain size, and I need the font to be perfect. I need this, I need that, and you'll mess around and spend not just a couple $100, maybe $1,000 if you know, for the right listing. On
Yep.
on a buy side, not necessarily. It's just, you know, you're showing somebody around. I tell you
Exactly.
a crazy story that I had with a buyer, right? Um, and you ever been to New York?
Yeah. Come on now. That's my backyard.
All right. So you know the distance between Brooklyn and the Bronx.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very far apart. So I had this buyer. 'Cause I have my own team. So with my colleagues, it was her buyer, but she was away for some time. So I took over. So he was staying in Brooklyn for about a week from the Middle East. So he stayed in Brooklyn for about a week. He wanted to buy a rental property, investment property here in the Bronx. So I take him there, 45-minute drive, and we're there, and we see about 3 to 4 properties. Now, the property, one of the properties that he liked, I call a listing agent, and the listing
Mm-hmm.
agent is like, okay, just, go to the property. I get there, and the property is locked with a chain lock, right?
What you do? You went through the window?
I
'Cause
called,
that happened to me one time, and I went through the back door. I was not playing. I was getting in that property by any means.
I call a listing agent, and I'm like, listen, it's locked. He's like, oh, I forgot. The contractor has the key. So I'm like, where is he? Oh, he's not coming back for another 2 days. I'm like, what? This guy is leaving this week. So
Right.
we already there. This is the last property. He wants to see it. He's like, listen, the front door is open. You just got to get around the gate. So I'm in a suit. I go out with my clients in a suit out of respect. And
Yes.
we climb the gate. It's a 10-foot gate with the spikes and everything. And we're climbing the gate. And I'm over here getting the spikes and everything stuck in my pants. I'm over here like I just I'm bending them. And we jump over. Everybody's looking at us like we're about to rob the place. Right? So when we're inside, the listing agent actually says, oh yeah, somebody robbed the place yesterday of the furniture because they had it staged. So we walked in and it was empty. Like it wasn't like messed up, but it was empty. It's like, yeah, they robbed the place yesterday. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But the buyer liked it.
Yes.
But he wanted mom to see it. Mom isn't in town until tomorrow morning. We had to jump the gate again with I'm like, oh man. And mom was athletic, so mom got quicker than me. Man, that's crazy. What's your craziest story?
Something similar to that, honestly. It was a gated community. We got through the gate, no problem. The listing agent is not answering the phone by any means necessary. This listing agent is not answering the phone. The code that's on the MLS is not the code that is to the lockbox. So now I'm like, oh man, mind you, this property happens to be like one or two out of like this property, another property were the main two that my client liked. So I'm like, I have to get into this place because the other ones we already saw like damn near 20 properties and they didn't like it. So I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? This is the last property they want to see. So I'm like, just stay in the front. And sorry. Hello. I'm in a meeting. Okay. I'm like, just stay in the front. I'll be right back. So I'm looking all over the house to see if I can get in any way. So I literally see I go to the backyard and like the window and the sliding door is open at the same time. Like it's like cracked, but you got to squeeze through. So I get in and I open the door and I came back around. I couldn't open the front door, but I came back around to the back and I told my clients, I'm like, hey, yeah, you guys can come in. They're like, are you sure? Like looking around, like, I'm positive. Just come on in. Like I definitely just broke into this house, but we're gonna see.
Did you have heels on doing that?
I had heels on, walking through the grass. I'm like, what? This is the worst day ever. I'm sitting there in my heels, like trying to go through the window with my skirt on. I'm like,
oh man,
crazy.
Oh man, I'm asking one more question. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Man, that is hilarious. The visual of it is funny. All right, 20 listings last May in 1 month. I've been around some heavy hitters. I've never heard of that in my life. And that was actually, if I'm not mistaken, the first time I actually contacted you. I seen it and I congratulated you on it. And it was just like, damn, like to be honest, like I really do I watch all your stories, I watch all of your posts and it's just so inspiring. It's just like, you're the reason why I wanted to get my license in Florida, being honest. You got to give your flowers. Here's your flowers. You're the reason why I still want to get my license in listings that you post. And I remember seeing, it was like every other day you had a just listed card on your page with your picture at the, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm like, how is she doing this? And I'm doing the cold, like I cold call a lot. I mainly do cold calls. That's how I farm. I deal with like expired, sometimes physicals, but go on a bunch of appointments, and it's just like, okay, one listing here, I get 50 more no's, but then I get another listing here, Last year, count all of it's a business, so I make sure I track everything. So I track how many cold calls I do, how many conversations I have, how many appointments I went on, and how many listings I actually get signed. After that, how many closings, so on and so forth. So last year I did 1,186 cold calls, 50 conversations, and 10 listings last year. So, and then some kind of like spilled over into this year and then COVID hit. How'd you do it? 20 in a month. How'd you do it?
So here's the infamous story of how I did that.
Infamous story.
Infamous story. Everyone always asks me, how did you get that? All right. I'm the agent that does things that other agents won't do.
Okay.
So I'm working with a renter who needs to be in a place by, like, I'm not even kidding. It's like Monday we're looking at properties. She needs to be in a place by like Friday. So I'm like trying to make it happen by any means. She has 3 daughters. We got to get her into this place. They have to start school soon, blah, blah, blah. So we're going around searching for places. We find this one place in Boca Raton. It's a very nice property. It's it's directly from the owner. It's no association or anything like that. It's like perfect because a lot of communities in Boca are gated and they have associations.
Got it.
This one, very nice property, no association, nothing. So I call the owner. The owner happens to be, his information happens to be on the MLS. The listing agent, the directions is, do not call me, call the owner. Fine, no problem. Call the owner twice, he's not answering. So we go by the house. By this time, I'm blowing up the owner's phone like, hey, my client really likes this property. She's willing to put down the deposit today. Let's make something happen. This is a rental, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees that I am just hands-on and I'm really, really determined to get my client in. It's to the point that he asked me, like, is this your friend or something? Like, why are you so committed? Yeah. This is how I am to all of my clients. I'm gonna be your backbone no matter what. You're my client, I got you, you're family at this point. So he starts complimenting my work ethic and he asked me, he's like, I wanna meet you in person with this deal because this is a really quick deal. Mm-hmm. And I want in person just to make sure everything's like official or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we meet at, real estate, you don't always just meet at the office. Some clients, they like to meet at a bar or they like to meet at Capitol Grill or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we go out to eat and we have a drink over appetizers and he's asking me about myself and he asking me about our mutual client now. So I'm telling him everything he needs to know. It just so happens that this guy happens to be an investor and he just bought a 19 townhome complex.
Wow.
And he likes my work ethic so much that instead of going with the realtor that he just closed on this complex with, he's like, yo, like you're somebody that I need because I need to fill up these units quickly. And after that, a few months later, the complex was fully occupied.
That's easy.
Yeah. So it's very important for, as you know already, it's very important for us to find investors, go to new construction homes. We have to be investors go-to. Mm-hmm. We have to. Because after that, he had other properties that he invested in. And I already knew that those were my listings off rip. And that wasn't including the other listings that I even had in my hometown. So, but my very first listing, not to get off subject, but my very first listing I received was from door knocking. A lot of people don't believe in door knocking, just like a lot of people don't believe in cold calling. Mm-hmm. A lot of people hate cold calling. A lot of people hate door knocking. Me, I prefer,
It's time consuming. I did it twice.
Yes, I prefer face-to-face. Like, I prefer to let someone know my body language, know how honest and how I want someone to perceive me face-to-face rather than just my voice. So door knocking has never been an issue for me. So the very first time I ever went door knocking, the guy said, it's so crazy because it's like you were sent from God because my wife and I were literally just talking about selling our property and then we get a knock at the door and it's you. Wow. And the day I scheduled a listing appointment with them. They signed the buyer's broker agreement the very next day.
Mhm.
And that's how I got my very first listing. Yeah. And mind you, that was 2 minutes from my house. I could walk there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's crazy. So you probably was passing by that house every day, seeing it and everything like
Every day. Every day, because I treat my listings like my babies. I'll go to my listings almost every day, spray a can of Febreze or whatever, just to have the ambiance. One thing I do, I see real estate is I'm just jumping and jumping and jumping.
that. This is interesting. Yeah.
I'm really big on ambiance, right? So one thing I do before all of my open houses is spray a whole can so it smells amazing. I turn on some jazz. I'm a sucker for jazz. And
Yes.
depending on the price of the open house, I'll get a bottle of wine or champagne. Ah, you got your name.
Play the jazz, make mimosas.
Yes, yes. Like, and depending on the amount of the listing, I know the type of client I'm dealing with. So if the listing is okay, for example, a $600,000 listing or whatever, I'm gonna have my mimosas. I'm gonna have my wines. I'm gonna have the alcohol there.
Mhm.
If I have a 200 or $300,000 listing, I'm gonna probably stick to the donuts and coffee and water.
Mhm.
I just feel like I just have to kind of know my clientele, but either way, the ambiance is most important for me. Aside from if I don't have any hors d'oeuvres or any drinks or anything, the ambiance is what you want people to walk into the home and be like, okay, this is home.
This is home. You want it to feel warm. You want, you know, open up the blinds, all the blinds, as much natural light as to come in. Play the
Yep.
jazz. I go write the title. Play the jazz playlist. I have my
Yep.
speaker there that fills up the entire place. Again, depending on the listing, or the snacks and things like that, or the cheaper listings, honestly, because of the commission and things like that, you can't go all out, or you're going to be breaking
Mhm.
even. So, chips and bottles of water, maybe Capri Suns. Other ones get the mimosas, other ones get the bellinis and the wines and things like that. Because again, that clientele is coming in, they're going to see that. And eventually they're going to want to sell after around 5 to 7 years. And if you put that impression on them, this is what they did for this person's open house, they'll probably do it for mine as well. So, I would really, really, really make it a point for the ambiance to be there. Make sure I'm in a suit all the time when I'm going out with my clients, when I'm in an open house. I went door knocking in a suit. It was 90 something degree weather and I'm in a suit. And it was like, oh, I'm sweating. I remember a, a client thought I got caught in the rain.
But you were sweating.
He was like, is it raining outside? No, I'm not.
That's funny.
Oh, man. I'm in tears. This is crazy.
Quick question. How do you feel about throwing your clients like housewarming parties? How do you feel about that?
Housewarming parties. Um, it kind of depends. I feel like it depends on because that's more so if you're working with buyers. That's more so when you're working with buyers. And I think what I like to do is throw like client appreciation parties and bring everybody together and things like that, have a DJ and, this is why, you know, my appreciation for you working with me, whether you're a renter, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller, things like that. As far as housewarming parties, it's kind of like, I don't know, how would I like invite the friends and the families and everything like that over, unless I get like the husband to sneak in and help me or the wife to sneak and help me and things like that. I think it's a good idea to have an impression on them because you want to have a lasting impression. Like one thing I don't do is I don't give clients like wine or like I don't know, like something that they can consume and throw away at the end of the closing. I kind of like fill them out and like throughout the process and see what it is that they're going to come back to keep using. So a co-op we just that's in contract as soon to close. Um, the seller, she does yoga a lot, and I used to always see her with her yoga mats and things like that. And, always going for jogs down Prospect Heights and things like that. So what I did was I bought her like a foot spa because you know she does yoga. She's always going to use it, and she was in Chicago during the time that I was advertising and things like that. And when she came back, I just had it there. Like I just had it set up there with the card, and she walked in and she's like, she hit me on the phone to the voice note like, Christian, like I walk in and I see a foot spa that wasn't there before. And I'm wondering, I can't leave it. And then she like, but then I saw your card on top of it thanking me. And it was like, were you looking at my feet? At my feet because I really needed this. And you must have been like, oh, yeah, those are jacked. But she was like, oh she was like, but I really, really needed this, and this is definitely going to get put to use. Me and my husband are going to use it. We thank you so much. Like, that's what I kind of do. Like, I kind of feel them out. They like doing this. They like doing that. So I'm going to bring that, you know. Bottle of wine is going to be good, but after they drink it, it's going in the garbage. You know, nobody uses magnets on their fridge anymore. So that's not something that I would do. So that's kind of what I want. I want them to keep to seeing what it is, to remember me.
Right. So you don't have like for example, I feel like I know that I have a go-to closing gift, but so you just basically fill your clients out. So you don't have a go-to closing gift.
Um,
That's really good. That shows that you're really, really, really like you're really looking, you're really
I fish it
observing.
out. I fish it out. I remember these mentors I was working with last year. And we were just talking. I think like some you know Marvel movie came out, and they were just really into it. So when we closed on their apartment, I sent them comic books. I was like, yo, did you guys ever like read through this comic book? And it was like, oh my gosh, like no, and da da da. And my daughter's mother, she like has like a case of comic books that she doesn't like rare comic books she never opened. She just has them sitting there. So then, you know, I paid her for the comics, and you know, I sent it to them. Oh, and they was appreciative of that. You know, because it's not to me, it's not like a one size fits all with the client. Some clients aren't gonna like wine or this, that, and the third. I remember on a listing appointment that I went to one time in Manhattan. So when I went there, I bought doggy treats, you know, and I showed them. I'm like, you know, I heard the dog in the background. How did you know? I heard the dog. And I'm like, I bought these treats. These are the best treats from Petco. You know, it's the kid I give. It's like, yeah, you know, feed the dog and things like that. And that's how I was able to build the rapport. And they still contact me to this day. They didn't go with me, which I'm upset about, but they do still reach out to me and things like that. So, you know,
Another question, really quick.
sure.
How do you feel about giving the clients the closing gifts at the closing? Do you think it leaves a better or bigger impression if you sent the gift about a month later when they're totally not expecting it? Or do you think that it makes a bigger impression if you just give it at the closing?
I kind of feel like closings, gifts at the closing are kind of already expected, you know? So I feel like maybe it could be two-party. Possibly a little something like a gift card during the closing, like here, and then they're like, okay, you know, Christian got me this, that, and the third. And then a month later, something just pops up at their doorstep saying thank you. And I was like, oh, wow, this was amazing. You know, I do think a closing gift is almost necessary if you want to leave that lasting impression. If you want them to say, my realtor did it. Because I remember one time I was talking to a mentor of mine, James Gamaris, and he was telling me like, with the internet being what it is and clients kind of could do some of the research, not all of it, but they can kind of do some of the research on their own. They feel like they're savvy enough to do it. As a realtor, you have to step your game up. So it's no more just to do what they did 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. The game has changed. So now I'll give you the closing gift at closing, but you're going to get a better gift a month later, or you're going to get, you know, something possibly before closing. You know, again, like the co-op didn't close as of yet. It's still in contract. Things are moving super slow in New York right now. We waited, I want to say, a month and a half for a commitment letter from the bank. It's crazy. But, you know, she wasn't expecting the foot spot. She walks in, it's like, oh, wow. You know, that's kind of what it is. I do like the element of surprise with it, though. I like the element of surprise. I think it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know this. I was still on their mind.
Do you have like a sign that you have your clients hold at the end of like the transaction?
What I do is, all right, so we have something called show. So it's me and my partner. So what I'll do is we have a gold marker, and I'll have them sign sold in gold to the line, and have them sign it and date it, and I'll picture frame it.
That's nice.
That's what I'll do, and then I'll take a picture with them later, things like that. And I'll picture frame it, put it up, so on and so forth. So
I'll show you something. My mom made this for me.
oh wow.
So you see this? This heart?
Yeah.
So my go-to closing gifts are usually Tiffany wine or champagne glasses. So you know how the Tiffany's has this blue right here?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay, yeah.
So as they hold the sign, and then the Tiffany's bag is right there, it just kind of matches.
Yeah, that's dope.
But now I'm starting to like, I've heard, like even at Keller, they suggested that we should give the closing gifts like a month later. And I'm like, I'm such a very like, okay, this has to match with this. And it's kind of weird, but I'm like, all right, if I give them that gift a month later, they can't take the sign they can't take the picture with the sign in the bag. It's stupid, but.
You gotta kind of do that. And again, it's great advertising for social media, so on and so forth. It makes the people feel good, like, yes, I did it. Because some people are looking forward to that picture. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to, like, we did it, and they'll post their keys, and so on and so forth. So, you know, that's dope. That's dope that you do that. I always try to, like, sit there and take the picture. What I'm going to start doing now, because my team have their own website, team.work, and I want to start doing like video testimonials, like regular testimonials. Like I kind of want to, like a 24/7 with real estate. So documentary for whatever condo, whatever co-op, whatever house, and this is me going to the listing appointment. This is this. The seller's driving me crazy. Boom, 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 boom. But you know, you shorten it to like a 3-minute clip, and at the end of it, or maybe somewhere in the middle of it, you know, I have the sellers talking about the experience and so on and so forth. And you know, because content is king nowadays, and you got to get with the times, you know.
Yes.
So I think that's a great idea. And I don't know, what's something innovative that you do? I know you model.
Wait, what was the question? Sorry.
What's something innovative that you do?
I do everything, really. I really, how can I? I don't know. I really do everything. Like, I really do. And I hate to just be so blah about it, but like, I'm very spontaneous. So I'm it's not like one thing. Like, okay, some people only prefer to do one thing, or they just have one thing that they usually do, one hobby or something. But no, I like to do it all. I don't like to limit myself to anything.
Of course. How are you? I know I was supposed to go a long time ago, but it's just so great talking to you. How are you adjusting to the new climate with COVID? Like, are you still doing in-person listing appointments? Are you doing it through Zoom? Like, how are you adjusting to the new climate of things?
Okay, so I literally just started being 100% comfortable with going back to normal, I guess you could say, like meeting up with my clients at a restaurant, or because I don't know, like I don't know how it is in New York, but in Florida, people like to be out and about. Like
Mhm.
people don't really want to come to the office. I don't know, like a lot of people like I have a lot of clients that do come to the office, but majority of them, they're like, meet me here. Let's just chill here because I have a 15-minute gap and I can only meet here. So I'm basically getting back to normal, but in the beginning, it was kind of difficult because I didn't like a lot of people, they'll come to showings with their sister, their brother, their aunt, their uncle, and it'll be like 6 people at the showing, and I'll just stay in the car, I'll unlock the door, stay in the car and let them see the property, and then I'll say, okay, afterwards, let's just speak on the phone about if you like the property or if you want to move on to another property. Like everything was basically on the phone, and I wouldn't really show the property to them. I would let them more like show themselves.
Mhm.
And it wasn't really bad because everyone understood the circumstance that we're all in right now.
Mhm.
Um, but it kind of did take a toll. But as of right now, everything, I'm not really adjusting to anything really except for being home more
Yeah.
because at the office that I have, clients can't come. So I have a home office, but I never have anyone come here. So I have to meet people out and about now. So that's really the only
You ever
thing.
do like meetings in a house, or you always go to like a park or a restaurant and meet them there? So I've always done my listing appointments in their house.
Always same here. All listing appointments always in the house. If we're going back and forth over properties and we're not really seeing eye to eye over the phone or like through email, I love to just say, hey, let's meet up because everything is always better in person.
Get the rapport and
So
everything.
yeah, so a time like that, if they want to meet at their house, I don't mind. But typically, a time like that is when we'll meet at a Dunkin', a Starbucks, or something of that sort. But listing appointments, I've actually have never done a listing appointment outside of their house. Now that I think about it.
Kind of like what we have to do. Like, Manhattan has been hit so hard, honestly, because of, I want to say, fake news. The New York Times released an article saying that Manhattan prices have dropped 54%. This isn't true, but once you're a seller and you see that from the New York Times, my $1 million condo is now only worth 460. I'm not selling that. So
Mhm.
even though it's
Mhm.
just across the water, people don't want you to in their house. People don't want you this. People don't want you that. So you got to kind of do it through Zoom, but you can't get the full body language, like you said. You can't get the full eye contact. You can't. It's easier to say no over Zoom and over the phone. Harder to say no in person. You can't really get to like me the way you would over Zoom
Right.
than over the phone. So
Right.
it did take a toll on New York and my business as well because people person, but in person people person. So now we're doing it through Zoom and things like that. And sometimes the connection breaks up and people running back and
Yep.
forth and things happen. It's just like, So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. COVID kind of inconvenienced a lot of things happening. It's just like,
Yeah. It is. So you have your own team. A team of how many is it of you guys?
Right now, it's a team of, I want 5, but they're not all agents. It's myself, my partner Jackie Cruz, Jaquette Charles, my assistant, and my photographer, and my
Okay.
videographer as well. So I guess it's too much to say.
Okay.
A photographer, he's very expensive, but you know, you got to pay for the quality. Um,
Yeah.
and as far as like me and Jackie, she's like my better half because, you know, I'm not going to mesh well with everybody. So, you know, sometimes I'm the more aggressive one. You know, I'm the more analytical one, numbers, boom, 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 strategic. And that
Yeah.
doesn't come off good to everybody. Some people it's a turnoff for. You know, some people need more of the softer side, the nurturing side, and that's my partner Jackie. You know, she's older. You know, she's more soft, more nurturing, so on and so forth. And now I know when to fall back, and she knows when to step in, and now we get the listing time, so on and so forth.
That
Japan, she more so focuses in the Manhattan area, while I and Jackie focus on Brooklyn, the cold call Manhattan, get the listing appointments out there, go with out there, we sign what we sign, and then work it like that. We're trying to, I want to build it to a team of actually 20 agents. That's my
right.
goal. That's my goal for the end of the year. You know, it kind of slacked because of the COVID, and we had to shut
Mm.
the office down for 3 to 4 months. So a lot
Yeah.
of agents that I had my eye on left the company, left the business because they're not making any money, and they gotta, you know, they gotta make the money. So kind of disappointed, but I really want a team of 20 agents. Um, I want to have my next goal of a hire as far as an employee is concerned is an ISA, inside sales agent, where they're actually doing the cold calls for me
Right.
to free me up from that. And now I just got to go do the listing, sign it, and then take that. That's like my next hire, the assistant, percent, because now I'm not running comps, she's running the comps. You know, she's making the appointments, and Christian, you have this in your schedule for this day, this day, this day. The comps are here. You know, this is the
Mm.
paperwork for this renter, so on and so forth. It's so much easier. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what it is. Do you ever think about building a team, or do you have one?
It's funny that you asked because my broker, he asked me a few months ago, twice. He's
Mhm.
like, "Do you want to build a team? Do you want to build a team?" And I said yes. Um, I did say yes, and it is something that I still will do. Um, I don't mind that because I believe that I'm a great leader and I have a lot, still have a great amount to learn.
Mhm.
But I've learned a lot with and done a lot. And I celebrated my 2 year anniversary late July, like a few weeks ago. So it's like I'm still new to the game, but and to be asked that by my broker, it's really an honor.
Mhm.
Um, but that's something that I will do. I will do. It's just crazy because times like this where I've just been so busy and like putting my career, I've really actually put my career on the back burner for the past few months because I just moved into my home and I just got
Looks
married.
amazing.
Thank you.
Congrats on the man. Told you I watch
Thank
it. I'll be watching. I'm in tone.
Yes, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate like seriously because lately I haven't been like on my Snap, Insta Snap, I haven't been showing much real estate like I usually do. But on my actual page it's just a slight mixture. But on my Insta Snap I haven't really been showing any real estate. So for you to see my personal life and beyond that, I really like appreciate that, because I was just talking to my colleague the other day. She's like, "You need to start posting real estate more. Like, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I haven't been working. Like, I have to get back on my game." But like times like this where my personal life kind of just came first, um, kind of sucks because I would still have to be that team leader and still get people together and things of that sort. Um, But yeah, it's something that I would do. I'm still going to do it, actually.
Be selfless in that aspect because now it's not about you as an individual agent. It's about you being a leader and making sure your team is being prosperous, which in turn is going to make you prosperous. You're the team leader, so you can't have part of the commission anyway. But
Exactly.
you gotta make sure that because it's your name on the line, you're the face of it, so on and so forth. So you gotta make sure everybody basically is kind of better than you in a
Mhm.
sense. You don't want them to you don't want them to be less than you. And if there's the same, if the other person is the same with you, one of you isn't needed. So
Exactly.
you gotta really make sure that they're doing this, they're on their game, they're on their game. That's why I made everybody on my team because it's been people that was on my team that I took off, because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. It's still cool to this day, but name on a brand, my name on the line. When people see you, I'm vouching for you. So people don't really see you, they see me. They hearing my voice,
Yeah.
they want to call me and say, okay, Christian, what's going on with this person? What's going on with that person? So on and so forth. So once you mess up and you don't got time for this client, once you're doing this,
Yep.
you gotta go. Because that's potentially me losing out, not even just on this listing, but future listings down the line because they don't trust me anymore because I vouched for you and now my word is no good. So you got to make sure everybody on your team is high standards, up to par, no games.
Right.
Some people on my team tell me, Christian, you too strict. It's like it's not me being strict; it's the business. The business
Yes.
is it's a demanding business. I have a goal of selling $80 million in inventory by the middle of next year.
That's a great goal. That's a great
It's
goal.
unrealistic, but listen, you got to shoot for the moon.
Have to. Why make a goal of something that you know for sure you can accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
No, I have to exceed that so I know that at least I'll reach. If I don't reach that, I'm going to be close to it. And that's still above mediocre. I don't like setting quote unquote realistic goals because anything could happen. Anything could happen. And I'm really big on the law of attraction. You keep saying that, it will happen.
Who makes the term realistic? Like who's to tell you what's realistic and what's not? So
Exactly.
when I say we're going to get 50 listings and you say it's unrealistic, no, it's very realistic. Somebody out there is going to do it. It's going to be me. We're going to get 50 listings. And I'd much rather say we're going to get 50 listings and get 27 than I say we're going to get 20 listings and get 20.
Exactly. Exactly. Sorry, Christian. Hold on 2 seconds.
No, it's not.
Yes. Okay. Later. Sorry, that's my husband. But huh?
I said, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, unrealistic goals, I think that's just nonsense. I remember Grant Cardone said, people that tell you to slow down in a race before they speed up.
Yep.
And it's like, nah, you got to catch up. You want us to be at the same pace, you got to catch up. We got to go. What's next? What's next? Said, before we go, I know you're super busy, but this is just like, oh man, a dream come true because for a minute, I'm serious. I've been watching you for a minute. I said, I'm going to be the Diddy of real estate, the flyest guy doing it out here, most swag, so on and so forth. And it's crazy because like people say you want to be able to, I just recently grew braids, right? I want to say March is when like I got my hair braided. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to make a statement that people that look like me can do it. You can be
Absolutely.
successful in real estate and law and whatever you want to do. You can be successful. Growing up when we grew up, you don't see that. Like I never seen a real estate agent on my block or in my neighborhood. If I did, I didn't know. I've never seen a successful entrepreneur. this and a third round growing up. I thought you had to be a drug dealer, a rapper, or a basketball player. Go to school, they tell you the 5 things you could be: a president, a cop, a doctor, a lawyer, a firefighter. That's what everybody heard. You don't really hear anything else. You don't hear about owning your own business. You don't hear about real estate agents. And as real estate agents, we can make more money than all of them.
In one transaction.
In one transaction. You know, it's crazy. So it's like, I wanted to make that statement. Like, you got braids, you don't have to cut your hair and quote unquote get whitewashed, you know? You don't have to cut your hair and get the fade or get this and a third. You can keep your hair, you know, you can talk the way you talk. Don't, yo, what up, man? You know, don't do none of that. Professional, respect, you know, but you don't have to change all of who you are. So I really wanted to make that statement. So I said, I'm going to braid my hair and I'm going to show it, because a lot of people that come into my office, we have 5 offices, 100 agents, and a lot of them know me. And they'll be like, oh man, Christian, like, you got this many listings. Every time I look up on the website, it's another listing from you. They really look up to me. And some of them come from the hood where I come from. You know, they don't have a sphere of influence. Everybody around them is on welfare. You know, like, a lot of people around don't have that. You know, oh, you know, the first thing you should do is call your sphere. Well, you call your sphere, they're living in the projects. They can't help too much, you know. They're living over here, check to check. They can't help too much. You know, and you're coming from that, and you got your braids, but you don't think you could do it. You got your tattoos, but you think you have to cover it and this and that. You don't have to do it. Look at our president. Like, you don't have to be the quote unquote, I guess, example that you always seen on TV. It's different now.
Yeah.
You can do it, you know, believe in yourself.
It really is, because nowadays people fall in love with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
They could go to the next realtor or the next realtor or the one after that, but they're gonna fall in love with who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love the way you said, like, I'm not taking off my braids. I'm not gonna stop being myself, because people are gonna fall in love. People already have fell in love with you as a person.
A person, yep.
That's it. That's mainly what real estate is about: reputation and making people fall in love with you and just being real. It's, you either like me or you don't.
Or you don't.
You want me to
That's
represent? You don't.
You know, it's people are not going to like you regardless. You know, let's say you just come in there with numbers. I sold this many houses. This is my average days on the market. This is this, this is this. They can still say no to you. You know, you can have all the numbers and accolades to back you up. They can still say no to you. And most of the time they might still, you know, just no, because they don't like you as a person. You know, you might be too short. You might be too tall. You might be this, you might be that. So what? Who cares? You can't please everybody. So go out and be you. And be happy that they chose you to work with and not who you pretended to be. You know, now every time you're with them, you got to pretend to be that person. It's crazy. Be you, you know? So yeah, I got braids. I want, you know, I'm gonna be me. I need you guys to be you. I need you guys to be able to believe in yourself and know no matter what, you know, you can do it. You can be successful, you know? Look at me. Look at Kenea. She's amazing. Like, you know, she's doing her thing. KeneaHomes.com. I'm in tune.
Yo, I appreciate the love, man. It just warms my heart. Like, you don't understand.
You know, KeneaHomes.com. You see recently sold. You see recent everything. I'm in tune. I'm in tune. I look at that and I say, wow, she's doing it. 2 years in the business. 2 years in the business. You know, you're doing things that people with 10 years haven't done. You know, and we all hit a wall now and then. We all hit like, oh my God, what the hell? What's going on? You know, but you're doing it, you know? You know, people say, you know, I'm trying. It's like, nah, you're not trying, you're doing. Trying is talking about it, and you're doing it.
Thank you.
I think you know, you didn't have to come on a live and talk to me and things like that. You could, you know, you took the time, and you know, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
No doubt, man, no doubt. Like anytime you're in Florida, we have to link. If I'm in New York, I'm gonna link you. Like we have to see each other in person, and we can do this all the time, Zoom meetings, whatever. Because I actually I'm gonna start doing realtor meetups, and I know you don't live in Florida, so but maybe this is something that you could do with your team or in New York too. Like just how we're doing now, a regular person cannot even imagine the things that we go through every day, that it just feels good to be able to confide in someone else that's doing the same thing and that actually knows.
Mhm.
So it's like I wanna create that environment or that platform for realtors to come to every month or every other week or however often I do it, so we can just do exactly what we're doing now, share information. And then if I have a client that's in Jersey or New York or whatever, I know that I can call you and I can refer them to you. And same over here, So I definitely loved conversing with you, and it's really been a pleasure.
100%. On that note, I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep in touch, keep in contact, and we're gonna do it again. Yeah, because for everybody,
Absolutely.
appreciate you. Have a good one.
No problem. See ya.